Trevino L. Brings Plenty is a poet and musician who lives, works, and writes in Portland, Oregon. He's a singer-songwriter, guitarist for the musical ensemble Ballads of Larry Drake. He has performed his work at poetry festivals as far away as Amman, Jordan, and close to his home base is Portland's Wordstock Festival in 2005. He's American and Native American, a Lakota Indian born on the Cheyenne River Sioux Reservation in South Dakota, USA. Some of his work explores the American Indian identity in American culture and how it has, through genealogical history, affected indigenous peoples in the 21st century. He writes of urban Indian life. It's his subject. He is the author of Real Indian Junk Jewelry. I love that. Love that title. And a book that was supposed to be called Four Skins, Four Sioux Poets, but is in fact called Shedding Skins, Four Sioux Poets. And one of the four is with us tonight. Please welcome Trevino Brings Plenty.
Thank you for having me here tonight. I want to thank the Loft and everyone who put this event together. I know all the hard work it goes into putting together events. And thank you to the other poets who, I don't want to say opened up for me. Who started out the evening. I'm not a rock star yet. So I live in Portland, Oregon. Sometimes I am a Native American hipster. So I have at least 5 or 6 flannel shirts, Western shirts. And the whole costume thing, I mean, we're past that. We'll just start hitting people. Just take off your shoe and go, no, no. I didn't mean to hit you. You made me do it. That's very inappropriate. I do social work as my day job. But not at night. This poem's called Here We Go Again. Oh, I passed by the room out there and I'm kind of intimidated that my big face is on a big screen. So, hello, the 2 people that are sitting in there. Here we go again. I sat in a chair in Lucy's new apartment. Another lady was there who I never met. She introduced herself and said her name was Alicia. She sat at my feet facing me. She had blue eyes, auburn hair, fake and baked skin. She asked if I was Native American. I said yes. Native Americans are so cool, she said. They're very spiritual. They're in touch with the earth, and oh my God, there is the Great Spirit. You have a beautiful culture. It's not all mine, I said. Native Americans have so much wisdom, she said, and leaned closer to me. Do you know any sacred stories? Can you tell me a story? Okay, I said. This one took place in old times. There was a lone cavalry soldier. He was stationed at an abandoned fort in South Dakota. There were Lakotas not far off. The Lakotas watched this man and wondered at his strangeness. They saw him cleaning the fort. They thought he was crazy to be alone, and then they saw him trying to communicate with a wolf that had white front paws. Alicia interrupted me and said, "That is the storyline for Dances with Wolves." "Yes, it is," I said. Then Alicia stood behind me and started to run her fingers through my hair. "It's unfair," she said. "Indian men have such beautiful hair. It's so dark and thick and soft. You are a beautiful man." "Thanks," I said, "but you know, I have more of that beautiful hair on my cock." Alicia quickly pulled her hand away. "You're disgusting," she screamed. "Maybe so," I said, "but your ideas of me are just as repulsive." Then Alicia sat on my lap, kissed my cheek. She stood and left the apartment. "There you go, Trevino," Lucy said. "You have a great way with the ladies." "Yeah, I know," I said. "The crazy ones come to me like flies to dog shit." This book is Shedding Skins. When we were getting together, planning to put it together, there's 4 Sioux poets, so we were going to use the title 4 Skins. But Shedding Skins is more poetic and get some classroom play out of the book. How to be an Indian male in the early 21st century. You must be birthed from an Indian mother. She must be in her teens. She must come from an alcoholic lineage. And you must say, "This is so." You will never meet your father. You will grow uncertain about your manhood. You will be angry. This must be so. You will sit in a cafeteria, greasy fries and cheeseburger before you. You will know all these people are all different ideas. All these people will never leave. A bearded white man sitting 20 feet away will look over you. He will wonder at your cheekbones, your long hair in a ponytail, your dark brown skin. He'll want to ask what tribe you are. He will feel sorry for you and your people's history. He will imagine you half naked like what he saw on TV last night and what he has read in his large Western novel collection. He will hate you because you don't fit his model. You'll see this bearded white man. You know he is watching you. You will imagine him in the same period clothes as he was with you. You feel sorry for him. You will sip your water in a clear plastic cup. You will imagine the bearded white man wearing buckled shoes, tan stockings, knickers, puffy shirt, vest, top coat, and a large brim hat. You'll wonder when his glory days ever began. You know he smells foul. The white man has maybe bathed once a year. This was a strange custom of white people. You will start to mimic the way he is eating and sound out the strange nuances of his language. It will anger you when you look around the cafeteria and see mostly white people. The white woman 5 feet away wearing a yellow dress and dipping bread into her soup will see you. She will want to take home a dark man. She will hate you because her husband is white. Her life is easy, it has to be. She has 2 white children. She will leave this family. She will use you. She will break your heart. But she doesn't do this to hurt you. She does this to leave her unhappy marriage. You see this white woman in a yellow dress. Her wedding ring is very expensive. You imagine her wearing a low-cut red dress. You imagine her leaving her family. She must be unhappy with her life. You know she is watching you. You know you must end her marriage. You will be in your late 30s. The anger you had all your life will eat you alive. You will drink heavily. You will not care. When your mother calls long distance, you will let your answering machine pick her up. You will die from a fatal injury. This must be so, but not until diabetes sets in your body and most of your sight is gone. You'll be a dead Indian male underground. All the noise you had in your head will finally be silenced. This could be one end to your story. Just take a bath. Don't stink. This book, Real Indian Junk Jewelry, it's the little poem beginning of the second part. You fucking idiot, I'm not stoic. This is just my face. I'm kind of a rare catch. I have a job. I don't have a debilitating drug or alcohol addiction. Well, these are the qualities of a really good Indian guy, and they have to have all their teeth. I did have all my teeth. So I did have like all the trifecta of the really good Indian, but I had to pull one out last year. We don't have fluoridated water in Oregon, so our teeth are disappearing. So they're saying, so they want to institute legislation to introduce fluoride to the water. You know, that's better than someone throwing their panties at me. Maybe they're in her vagina. I'll take your word for that. Excerpt from the Diary of Sitting Bull. One thing I fondly miss about George Armstrong Custer, besides the pretty yellow locks bobbing up and down, were the splendid hand jobs. We would lie on long summer grass by the Little Bighorn River. You would be surprised how soft his hands were. Sure, he boasted a lot of shit, but at least he could live up to his namesake. Good hand job, Custer. That's true. Real Indian junk jewelry. You've probably seen them at powwows. They would wear absurd amounts of turquoise. They would have a huge turquoise rock on a belt buckle or on a ring. Maybe have some on a bracelet, necklace, a pair of earrings. Some would go as far as to have a turquoise eye instead of a glass one. And when they smiled, a full grill of turquoise rocks. Turquoise, the Indian bling bling. See, the old bling bling's topical and it's kind of outdated. I need to update that. It's not really icy. They're turquoise rocks. A short piece. It's titled Ass Antlers Tramp Stamp. Mount Rushmore belongs in the Museum of Bad Art. It's a fitting place. Mount Rushmore is a bad lower back tattoo. Some use a landline or a cell phone. I'm learning to play the Lakota love flute. I phrase my pentatonic melodies, control my breathing, I trill a simple call. Of course, this is all for love. I've learned songs from my grandfather that were from his grandfather. I don't have to spray my scent to bring them in. It's called condensation that is expelled from the flute tip. I sing with my cedar flute. It is strong elk medicine. I sit on my back porch, toot out my Indian features. With my Lakota love flute is how I make my booty calls. The best thing about hotels, especially when they have two beds, is you can jump from one bed to the other and jump back again. It's way fun. I can't do that at home because I might break the bed, but I don't have two beds. And the thing about my hotel room, too, is for safety reasons, the toilet seat closes, which is kind of frustrating for me as a guy who stands when they urinate. So I just go in the bathtub. It's all pipes. To that dude at the cow college, 1. Hey, Adrian, when I was 16 years old, I was that tall Indian kid seated high on the bleachers of another college gym powwow reading Wordsworth. Silly, huh? I lifted my head from my book, looked at the dancers, and thought I saw the most ornate intertribal basketball game. Nobody made a basket, but everyone kept score. 10 years later, at the same gym powwow, I was with my girlfriend and her 5-year-old son. This time, I kept score. The 5-year-old son disappeared that night. He's still missing to this day. 2. Hey, Adrian, the past weekend I watched my favorite movie at a second-run theater, Tron. $3 to get in, $3 for a slice of pizza, $3 for a ruby red microbrew, kind of a fruity beer, a treat, really. 20 years ago, I used to stay at my cousin's house for the weekend. My aunt's friend Gloria would stop by every now and then. She was Pima Indian. She said I looked like Tron. It was my haircut. A month later, she killed herself, OD. 3. Hey, Adrian, my 2 cousins who were Umatilla Indian and African American moved from the city back to the res here in Oregon. Nobody on that res liked those black boys. The eldest cousin was shot in a hunting accident by his uncle, hunting elk, I think. Afterwards, the other cousin moved back to the city. I lost contact with him. 4. Hey, Adrian, I was walking the dog last night. Luke called me on the cell. After we disconnected, the dog looked to the left, and so did I. In the middle of the road was a dark shadow. It floated beside us, then disappeared. It scared the shit out of me. The dog looked forward. I did the same. It's kind of in the vein. When I get bored, I sometimes write to poets. This one's called Biker Swinger. Adrian, when I was in my local watering hole biker bar watching the game, a short lady named Amy, Apache Cherokee, spotted me, asked if I was Indian or Samoan. She was talking at me, telling me her story about living in Burns, Oregon, and not liking this one Paiute who beat her up when they were kids. I thought about you, though you are Northern Paiute. I just nod when folks are talking at me. I was preoccupied with the game. She left with her biker boyfriend to a strip club down the street. They came back later. Amy was talking loud with her biker boyfriend about the strip club they visited, a club I've been to before. I overheard her talking earlier to another patron before they left to go. I heard her talking earlier to another patron before about being swingers. Portland won the game. I felt great. Amy sat next to me and introduced me to her boyfriend. I'm not a swinger, I said. I finished my beverage and left for home a block away. Outside was their bike. They rode on a nice hog. Flames on the side, huge handlebars. I was jealous, but not a swinger. So Portland has the most strip clubs per capita. In my younger days, I've been to them. And there's this one that sells steak. That's $6 for a 6-ounce steak and a baked potato or fries. They have their own beef farm, and so it's pretty good for the price. And there's a salad bar too with a sneeze guard. $50 beers on tap. It's weird eating meat while watching meat on the stage. I know that's very misogynistic, and so once I went into social work, I don't go to strip clubs anymore. I just like the play of light and shadow on the female form. I tell my wife. No, I don't go to strip clubs. Just there's a persona in my work that I love to channel and do, but I'm a nicer guy than that. Soft spoken, unless you piss me off. I haven't been in a fight in a long time. I'm not scared to fight. I don't mind getting knocked out too. Just take a little nap. My tribe is virtual. Hey, waf. All right. Hey, wife. Hey, Wi-Fi. Hey, Wi-Fi. My connection is good. My connection is fast. Hey, Wi-Fi. Hey, Wi-Fi. I type on my machine these words. I'm glad I don't have dial-up anymore. Hey, Wi-Fi. Hey, Wi-Fi. My connection is good. My connection is fast. Hey, Wi-Fi. Hey, Wi-Fi. I sip black coffee with 2 espresso shots. It's strong. It's good. It's not from a corporation chain. Hey, Wi-Fi. Hey, Wi-Fi. They read, I need to extend my manhood. I need to update my account. My connection is good. My connection is fast. I read poems, converse with chums, check naughty pics. I feel good. Hey, Wi-Fi. Hey, Wi-Fi. I scan national news. I find Indians. I scout the internet bush for that pearly, white, slippery eye. Hey, Wi-Fi. Hey, Wi-Fi. I listen to internet radio programs and webcasts. I like the honey pot picks the best. My honey stick is wood. My connection is good. My connection is fast. Hey, Wi-Fi. Hey, Wi-Fi. My peeps are virtual. My peeps are virtual. Oh, man. That's a work in progress song. I was in Montana when I was writing that with the Magpie Singers, and I was trying to get them to get on board with that jam. They said no. Um, when there's a big, scary Indian coming to you and talking at you that you should do stuff, I would like it if you do. Don't be scared. Tiffany said that her sister looks like me, and I don't know if that's a compliment or I should feel sorry for her sister. I think it's my hips. Can't be my butt. I have Indian butts flat. Maybe it's my no neck. I have 1 inch of a neck. That's why I can't wear chokers. I have no neck. And then you put this fat on top of that, and it's all gone. Just one meaty head. So in Portland, we put out posters for WIC, and they wanted a round-headed Indian baby. And so I got to be the poster child for WIC there in Portland. So all at the child welfare places, you see my baby picture. And it's round baby head. Maybe it was a style at the time, this haircut where it's bangs and like the Tron helmet. Yeah. And I had a ribbon shirt on that was blue and it had like this low cut neck. Man, I want that now. But because I live in the Northwest, I don't get that much sun, so I have a trucker tan, and it's I can't wear V-necks. My wife is trying to put me into V-necks. I have no chest hair. Well, I have 17 chest hair. My little tribe on my chest. And it's just pale underneath. I think that's my 9/64 French. That's where that's coming from. I had an idea to go to France to be with my people. A documentary about me going back to my roots. I can imagine me coming off the plane and like baguettes and my French people. We once trapped beaver together. As fur trappers. So I worked at a residential treatment facility for at-risk youth and worked with a lot of the tribes there in Oregon. The 9 federally recognized tribes would send some of their kids that were removed into this treatment facility to address their mental health issues. So this piece is one of their stories. It's called Jimmy. They woke me up 3 a.m. They said they were taking me to Pendleton. I slept in the back seat of the car. I woke in Portland. These rooms locked from the outside. We have to be in them at 8:30. Doors shut 9 p.m. bedtime. He works his shift in the evenings. He showed me how to make dream catchers from ivy. He talked about his res. He told me the story of Spider. It is written in the web. When I'm blowing out, they say he wouldn't like it, what I'm doing. I tell them he is too cool to care. He wouldn't stop me. He would let me do this. He's holding down my right arm. I yell at the other guy on my left. I yell at the supervisor. When I show I can be safe, they ease up. At my bedroom doorway before lights out, he plays cards with me. He calls me Jimmy. I asked, how does he know my uncles called me Jimmy? My name is James. I wait for his shift. He doesn't work on the weekend. He is my one-on-one when the shift begins. He asked how my weekend was. I tell him it was boring. I'm eligible for outside time beyond the fence. He walks with me around the place. He points to a snake in the grass next to the building. I chase it, pick it up. He laughs, lean close to look at the snake in my palm. He tells me, good job. He couldn't catch a snake himself. I catch another one. He tells me, good job. He says, I can't take the snakes in the building. The snake's home is outside with their family. I tell him, okay. When we do pocket checks before entering the building, he tells me the snake's home is outside with their family. I release them. I wanted to take them in with me in my room, but let them go to their families. In the building on my wing, we play wall ball together. He is breathing hard. Sometimes he wins, but I mostly win. I tell him it is my shower time. He pours body wash in a Dixie cup. In another, he pours shampoo. I shower. I lie in my bed. He sits in my doorway. He reads to me. I think of snakes eating spiders, taking food back to their families. I think of my family. I want someone to wake me 3 a.m. again and take me home. He tells me good night. He'll see me tomorrow. I'm trying not to get too depressing. So I'll do one more. Lakota language lesson with Benjamin. I sit at the kitchen table with my grandfather. We are learning the Lakota language. We listen to a cassette recording he made 3 years ago. We sound out the strange words together. We say the words for all my relations. Good, woman, horse, cat, dog, home. All those drinking years he had, I remember them all. His marriage, years as a chef in the Marines, no good alcoholic children, grandchildren's birthdays, his youngest brother who drowned, the remaining brother who died 2 years ago, his ex-wife who died last year. My grandfather can't recall any of these. A brain blood clot pressed down and crushed his memory. A year after surgery, he has regained his motor functions and speech. My grandfather and I take a break from our language lesson. I make him a ham and cheese sandwich on 12-grain wheat bread. I place it on a plate with a handful of baked potato chips. I set the plate in front of him, and he says, "Thank you, sir." I open a can of Diet Cola and pour it into a plastic cup with ice. I drink from the can and set the cup next to his plate. He says, "Thank you, sir." Lala, I say, "We're doing good, innit?" He says, "Washte." It was dusk when my grandfather and his 2 younger brothers were drinking near the Cheyenne River. The youngest wanted to swim across the river. My 2 grandfathers drove in a pickup truck over a bridge and parked on the other side. My grandfathers watched their youngest brother sink in the middle of the river. They couldn't do anything about it. Lala, I say, "I think we're doing good, innit?" My grandfather smiles and says, "Washte," and takes a bite from his sandwich and eats a couple of chips. He asks for a straw. I get one and place it in his cup. In the mornings, I dress my grandfather in blue jeans and Western shirt. He slips on his white tube socks and brown cowboy boots. He stands before a mirror and combs thinning hair. "Phoebe," I say to him, "that was your wife." "Phoebe," he says, "that's a funny name." "Major and Abraham," I say to him, "those were your brothers." "Yes," he says, "Major and Abraham." Before his surgery, my grandfather talked at me in the Lakota language point blank. When I was younger, I asked him at a powwow if the Lakota drum group sang any words. My grandfather laughed at this and said, "Yes, Takoja." 3 years ago, I remember my grandfather sitting at the kitchen table with a tape recorder in front of him. He said he was making these tapes for his grandchildren. When I'm away from my grandfather, he asked my wife where that nice man went, not remembering that I am his grandson. My wife says, "He went to school." "When is he coming back?" he asks. "Soon," she says. She says soon. I press play on the cassette player after my grandfather finishes his meal. We sound out more Lakota words. As we sit at the kitchen table, he says, "My voice sounds funny on that machine." I say, "The language sounds funny in it." He says, "The words feel like home." I say to him, "I think we're doing good, Lala." My grandfather looks at me and says, "Washte, Takoja, we are doing good." Thank you.